What's up, everybody? This is Chris Nichols, and you're listening to an episode of the Nichols and Dimes Show featuring Melody Kramarz. Enjoy. What's up, Mel?
Hey, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my honor. Thank you for being on the show. I'm excited to learn more about your story and your business and what you're looking to do going forward.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, well, guys, let me give a quick intro for Melody Kramarz. She's a personal trainer and founder of Vyana Fitness, which is a fitness consulting business for high performers to sculpt the body they envision. Mel is from Terryville, Connecticut, attended Eastern Connecticut State for undergrad and UConn for her master's in exercise science. She is currently based in San Diego.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Well, how's life been in San Diego for you, coming from the East Coast?
Man. You get out here and San Diego, I think, is the happiest place in America. I'm convinced, So moving from Connecticut, I'm from a small town, and you do the same things year after year after year after year.
Yeah.
And then here, it's like the world opened up to me. People are so much more open-minded. You can learn so much more. The environment is so active.
Yeah.
It's been an incredible journey and change that needed to happen.
Mm-hmm. So why did it need to happen?
Yeah, so, I lived in Connecticut for 26 years. I've had the same friends, the same environment, the same communities, did the same thing year after year after year. And I've always had this deep-rooted understanding that I need to do a lot more. And I just didn't know what that looked like. So in April of last year, I took a road trip around the country looking for where I wanted to live because I knew it was in Connecticut and I also knew I hadn't been there yet. So
interesting. So you just knew you needed to go somewhere, but it was nowhere that you had been to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to go if I don't know where it is?
Yeah.
So I planned this road trip and I hit 22 cities, 15 different states. Wow. And I basically Airbnb hopped around the country for 5-6 months.
Okay. So this was like, what was life like at this point? Because it was during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Like, what were you doing for work? What was your situation? And we'll back up. I want to get to your early life, but just for the sake of understanding why you're in San Diego now, let's cover this. Yeah.
Before that, I was living in Connecticut and I started my business in 2020 and I was in a relationship with someone who also owned an online consulting business as well. And so he helped me start it up and I went through a few programs that we can talk about as well. And it was just something that was so boring to me. And really? My life was so boring. And I was, I ran this online fitness consulting business and I wasn't charging what I was worth and I wasn't making what I wanted and I wasn't helping people in the way that I needed to. Nothing was set up so that it was fulfilling to me at all. And I actually was resenting my business a lot.
Okay.
And so my environment, the people around me, the things I was doing for work, I was like, I'm not happy with anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I got to change my environment first and foremost. So I planned this road trip and I sent it last April and I completely stopped working during that time. And it was just a really important time of self-exploration. Yeah. Finding out like who I am to the core. Who am I?
Yeah.
Right? After being a chameleon for basically my whole life, whatever social situation or academic situation or business situation I'd find myself in. It's like, okay, let me mold so I can fit this environment right now.
Yep.
But that kind of chips away at who you truly are at the core, and then I lost it.
Yeah.
And so last year was all about finding that inner connection to myself and redefining like what are my values? What do I truly care about?
Yeah.
How do I want to live?
I can totally relate to that, actually. Like, especially with moving to San Diego as a part of that self-discovery, that transformation, because that was I needed a new environment for my personal reasons.
Yeah.
And during 2020, when I moved to San Diego from San Francisco, obviously, which were two totally different places. Very different. At that time, especially, right? So, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And you're here and you found an amazing community, obviously, that we shared together, which I'm so thankful for, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your early life. I want to understand how you grew up, what your interests were, what got you into fitness in general, what sports did you participate in, and then obviously eventually how that led to your career as an entrepreneur in the fitness space as a personal trainer. What did you do as a kid, sports-wise?
Yeah, so I was in gymnastics starting at age 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember my first class, my childhood best friend from kindergarten brought me to a class. It was like a bring a buddy class. And I'm going to sound so conceited right now, but I crushed it, right? I was like 4 years old. I'm in this gymnastics class. I've never done it before. And it lit me up. And it was so fun. And so from then on, I started getting really heavily into it. And so I competed for 10 years. I was in gymnastics for a total of 13 years.
Wow.
And it was my life. Like I spent 15, 20 minutes in the 20 hours in the gym. And so throughout that, I missed a lot of social situations. I missed a lot of family things. I was always in the gym. And putting on this pressure of, it's like a single person sport, right? So it's like you compete for yourself.
Yeah.
And training was interesting. My coach was very forceful and it was a very bad environment actually growing up in gymnastics. And
this sounds common, especially in women's gymnastics. Obviously with the scandals in the US, the coach and all that, right?
Yeah. And growing up from a young age, like being a super young girl surrounded by, and I was the oldest one on my team. Yeah. And so the younger girls got the brunt of the punishment, honestly, what it was. Yeah. And I kind of just did what I was told. I always worked as hard as I possibly could. Yeah. And if something like went wrong or I hurt myself, it was always like, suck it up, do it again, do it again, do it again. And that was the culture I was raised in. It was like, you need to do your best every single day. You need to show up for yourself and for your team and for your coaches. And if you get hurt or if you whine or if you don't want to do something, too bad. So grateful for it now, but it was definitely a strange environment as like this little girl.
For sure. How about at home? How did this compare to your parents, how they raised you?
Yeah, I had a really, really cool childhood up until my parents split. All the neighborhood kids would always come over to my house because my dad built us at this big playground. Nice. My parents were in a band together. Oh, cool. So they would do band practice, and it was really fun. And then when they split, everything changed. We moved to Terryville. My mom remarried, and it was a very different situation. I feel like it wasn't like a family anymore. It was kind of just almost like a pretty toxic environment.
And how old were you when they split?
I think like 7.
Oh wow, okay. Yep.
And so from like 7 to 14, my mom remarried, and we were living in a different spot, and we had a great house, and like we were well off, and it was wonderful, and I was just happy to be in the gym and away from the family situation. I see. Yeah. So that was a blessing in disguise too.
Yeah. So there were separate, different types of issues in different places.
Completely different.
Going on, just a little bit of chaos everywhere. But you found your escape doing gymnastics. You did love doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And so that's where I fell in love with movement as medicine. If I was feeling a type of way, if I was physically sick, if I was just mentally unwell, if I was emotionally taxed, I would go to the gym and just beat it out of my body, basically. Really. And we trained hard growing up. So exercise became my escape for sure.
So at what point in gymnastics, as a girl growing up from a young girl to a teenage girl, did you guys start lifting weights?
Oh, from day one. Oh yeah.
How old
from
were
like
you?
I was like 5 years old. 5 years old, we would do body weight calisthenics. Yeah, 6, and then when you get into competing at like 7, 8, 9, we did 30 minutes of plyometric warm-ups and sprints and more cardio-based things, and then we would move into 30 minutes of strength training. Oh, wow. And it would be, you have 15 pull-ups, 15 chin-ups, and if you don't complete all 15 in a row, you come down and you start again.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because some people, they kind of find their passion for fitness and lifting weights later on, right? And they get this life transformation. They're like, oh yeah, into it now. You and I are similar in this sense, where we participated in sports and we started like lifting early on, and it's something that we're still both really passionate about.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God, right? So I can understand it, but for I don't know, maybe for our audience here, what would you say has kept you so interested in it, loved it so much for this long, even though you started early?
Yeah, honestly, because it was my therapy.
Yeah.
Exercise was just a part of my life for so long, and then when I had to quit gymnastics because I got pretty badly hurt, I didn't know what to do. I had all this energy, right? That you're used to burning, you're used to expending. And so it was in high school. I quit when I was 16, and I was like, I gotta do something. So I started doing core workouts at home and running, and I got a gym membership at 16, and I would just do what I was used to. And then I kind of just picked up from watching people and watching YouTube and from friends just how to train at the gym. And part of my training was to heal myself, because I had really bad back issues, I had really bad wrist, ankle, knee, shoulder. Like, my body hurt at 16 years old. Like, I could barely sit in a chair in high school without shooting pain. It was so weird.
I didn't know how much we overlapped on this. I had major back issues too.
Serious? Yeah, horrible sciatica at 16 years old. Like, couldn't drive more than 30 minutes without like really being in pain.
This is me. This is crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
So why? Was it because of the years of gymnastics and hard training from an early age?
Oh yeah, just like pounding on your bones, not recovering very well, overstretching, overworking, lack of recovery, and then you're going and you're doing school too, right? It's like I'm a full-time career competitive gymnast. Going to school, and then trying to be a kid, whatever. It's like, you don't prioritize sleep. You don't know these things. And my thing was, I had to eat a lot in order to sustain my energy level, because I was like very, very, very skinny.
Really? Okay.
And I couldn't gain body weight. So I was eating just everything, right? Not necessarily the good things.
Yeah. But you're a hard gainer. You could get away with it. And I
had to. I had to. My coach would tell my mom, be like, make her eat more. And my mom was like, she's a bottomless pit. Like, she eats so much.
Oh, that's so funny. So did you compete then at Eastern Connecticut? When did gymnastics stop?
No, gymnastics stopped at 16 years old. And because I couldn't work out anymore. It hurt so bad.
Your body was just so.
My body was done. And after doctor's appointments, they're like, girl, you got two choices. You could either work out and continue in pain, or you can just stop and move on with your life. So part of my training and how I moved into exercise was to fix myself, because physical therapy didn't work. Running didn't work. So then I had to figure out, okay, what is going on? So I started with learning about muscles and learning about different exercises and learning about physical therapy exercises. And that's what sparked my interest in learning exercise science. And that's why I got into it in college.
Wow. Okay, that's incredible. I can relate to so much of everything you just shared. Yeah, it's wild, because I had to stop playing sports during college as well because of my back issue. And then I could really do all those things too, but I eventually got much more into it when I figured out what works for me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it sounds very similar for you.
That's wild.
Yeah. Okay, so in undergrad, what did you study?
Yeah, so I took my first anatomy and physiology class my freshman year, and I fell in love with it. The body is so cool, how everything is connected. So after that course, I started a major in exercise science, a minor in public health.
Okay.
And throughout undergrad, I was basically like a giant nerd, right? There was the anatomy and physiology classes at Eastern were the hardest courses known on campus, and there's 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
And they were my favorite courses ever. And at the end of all 3 of them, my professor pulls me into his office. He's like, you are one of 10 people in the last 10 years to get A's in all 3 of these.
Wow. So you were a kick-ass student.
Yeah, I would sell my notes for like $50 a pop.
That's awesome.
And there's a bunch of jocks that would major in exercise science that weren't good at school. So I would sell them all my notes.
You're hilarious. That's funny. Wow. Okay. And then when did you know that you wanted to take this to the graduate level?
Yeah, I really didn't, but in college I also did a bunch of research just for extra credit because I thought it would be fun, honestly. So I did like 3 research projects in undergrad, and then my senior year I was like, okay, I have no clue what I want to do with an exercise science degree. You can't honestly do much, disclaimer out there. And you definitely can't make money doing much with just being a trainer at a gym or something like that, and I had no clue. So my advisor was like, well, you should probably get your grad degree and you could probably get it paid for if you do research for them. So I applied to UConn, and I went and visited this research lab, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, we will pay you to do research for us, and you'll get so I got a free ride to UConn. And I worked in a exercise science laboratory working on chronic conditions and how exercise can medicate chronic conditions and mitigate the effects of it and reverse.
On point with the whole reason you got into it, sort of.
Yeah, so then I started doing research for UConn. I worked on NIH funded trials, I worked in hospital settings, and I was a research assistant and a graduate assistant. They employed me to be basically UConn's personal trainer. So anyone who went to the health services department, if they weren't meeting exercise guidelines, they were referred to me, and I would give them an exercise program.
That's awesome. So were you working with a lot of the athletes then? So
this was students, not athletes.
Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So like, how did that work? Just how did a student get to work with you as a trainer? Yeah, so exercise as medicine is pretty big in the college spaces and the university spaces, and so they have their on-campus hospital or whatever, and if student health or their student health, exactly. So if you go to student health, their intake, their vital signs, one of the vital signs is how much exercise do you get. So every single student that goes through student health takes that questionnaire. And if they're not meeting the guidelines, which is 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity, they would refer them to me to get an exercise program. And so I would do consultations, and basically I was UConn's personal trainer. Yeah, that's sick. Okay, so that's a pretty solid intro into this business. Yeah, it was a good gig. Yeah. For sure. Okay, so you kind of had a bit of a lifeline of getting into this, going towards this direction, into this industry, because you had the full ride and you were getting paid. You were working as UConn's personal trainer for the student body. At what point in grad school did you figure out how you were going to transition into making a career out of this? And what was your thought process between, I can go work for some big corporate gym, be a personal trainer, or I'm going to do this myself? Yeah, so I never intended on being an entrepreneur ever at all. I never intended on being a trainer. I thought I was going to be a professor. So so I did a lot of research in undergrad and in grad school, and I was offered a scholarship to continue doing that and get my PhD for free as well. And just after being in the research space and just seeing how academia is run, it's super political actually. I was just like, this isn't it. And you can make a great salary for sure, but it's like you're capped. You work at a university, you're pretty capped unless you get famous, make a book, have an entrepreneurial side gig. And so I worked for this brand new gym that opened up. It was an hour away, so I would commute all across the Connecticut during grad school, and I basically helped this guy start a brick and mortar gym. And I was his first employee. And so I kind of learned how to structure everything and structure products. We did marketing, we shot videos, and I was their education director. So all of their clients, I would make their programs and I would teach them, about their chronic conditions. A lot of them had diabetes or hypertension, and I would construct exercise programs for specifically their conditions. And then 2020 hit, and they shut down. And so we had plans of making, 100 different locations, right? Because this was a boutique fitness for women with chronic conditions. Interesting. Okay. Very niche. So it was that niche, And then when it shut down, I was like, well, listen, I gotta do what I gotta do. Like I gotta work. So I was in a relationship with a guy who owned a consulting business. He's like, dude, just go online, do it yourself.
You know, you could take my Sam Ovens training program, Consulting Accelerator, and I went through that course, which is absolutely brilliant. And that was the start of personal development for me. That was the start of business development. That was the start of even thinking about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And in March 2020, I started taking on my own clients. I filed an LLC, and
wow.
I just kind of
March 2020 you started.
Yeah.
So wait, when exactly did that you going through the program start?
Yeah, so you know, from this point forward, everybody on social media and in my family and friend group knew me as the personal trainer.
Okay.
You know, as the one who does the fitness stuff. So it wasn't hard to market myself at first at all. So I got
lost their gyms as well.
Exactly. So they're kind of looking to me for guidance as it is. So I got my first few clients in like days. As soon as I put my first, hey, I'm gonna transition online.
Yeah.
Anybody who needs my help, please reach out.
Wow.
And it was just word of mouth for 2 years.
Yeah. That's been I think a common story with a lot of the personal trainers at that time, right? So, but I'm curious, when you say online, like define what exactly that means. How were you interacting with your clients?
Yeah, so at first it started out with live Zoom one-on-one trainings, and then also me making your workout and nutrition program. So this is, you know, whatever equipment you got, here's whatever is realistic and sustainable for your routine, here's your workout program.
Yeah.
And then your macros, your calories, your meal prep, how to do that stuff, ebooks, free resources, and yeah, basically that was it. And I the model that I had then was completely different than the model I had now. And that was a very unsustainable model. I was working all the time, face to face with clients, getting burnt out, not even making the amount of money that I wanted to.
Just not really scaled, much more customized. I see. Yeah. And how many clients would you say you worked with in the pandemic years, like 2020, 2021?
Total?
Well, like, and how many would you have at a time?
At a time, I capped at like 20, 25 at a time, which is honestly way too many for the model I was doing. Even though everything was online, but still you were having that individual attention. But you know how it is, it varies. It's like some months are, 20, 25 clients, some months are like 6, 7, and then you just, because you get burnt out and then you stop marketing, and then it's like this roller coaster. And honestly, Chris, I hated business. I hated it. I hated like, not because I'm from crushing it in school. Right? You have a rubric. You got a person looking over you, and you just check these boxes off and you're done. Entrepreneurship, it's like, I make my own schedule. I can do whatever I want. I can, like, these big theoretical things that I have to break down and create my own rubric for. It's like, I hated it. And so that's another thing that kind of prompted me to start all over last year and just figure out, how do I do this my way? Because it wasn't working for me for a long time.
Because you really had this more academic mindset, and you just had trouble transitioning that into a business sense.
Absolutely.
Did you ever take any business classes in
Never
college?
in my life.
No. Wow.
No. Okay. I took Sam Ovens Consulting Accelerator, which was absolutely everything that you really do need to start and grow an online fitness or business in general. And then a lot of just input from, my ex, and it got me to a place where I was just like, this doesn't feel like mine. Doesn't feel like I'm doing this because I actually want to do this, or and it's like this. I see. It wasn't fun for me at all.
Okay, so you hit the point, and this was 2022, right? Early 2022, when you decided to take this road trip to figure out where you were going to restart your life, refresh your life, maybe, and kind of find out, okay, how do I make this work? You're still committed to being a personal trainer, but what was the question that you had in mind that you were seeking after? Was it more like, hey, I need to figure out how to truly make a living out of this, and how to fall in love with making this a business and organizing my life around this?
It was, that's kind of maybe what it would look like on a day-to-day level, but in my mind, I don't want to just make a living. I want to make a killer life. I don't want to just pay my bills and exist. It's like I want to make a huge impact in the world. And so how do I do this being a personal trainer? Right. And so going through that amount of self-exploration and personal development that it takes in order to get clear on what you actually want to do. It's like, I know I'm meant for more, but what does that even look like? You know, what is this feeling inside of me that says you can do more? It's like, okay, but what do I do? Right? So that clarity was everything. And that's what, you know, like, honestly, being alone, being not in an environment that I know people or that I know where I am, and then not working, the silence that I got from that allowed me to actually understand myself and hear what I needed to hear. That helped me get clear on what this vision is. And it's not just, you know, to have a job, it's to make an impact. And so
I love that. There's something so powerful about getting on the road, traveling alone, going to a new place you're not familiar with, and then actually hearing the inner voice give you the answers. And it did, and it was wild, right? And so once you have those answers, you're like, oh damn, like my vision's pretty big, right? Where do I start? And you know, you start with, how would this person act? Okay, this person's gonna have to get on a schedule. This person's gonna have to work out the way they want to, eat the way they want to, work the way they want to, plan the way they want to, hang out with people that are doing the things that you want to do, learn the way you, like, this person should be learning. And it really was stepping into that person that can make an impact, not the person that wants to, but the person that actually can. Wow. So, okay, that's a cool answer. I could dig deep into that. What was that vision then? You gave a high level of it. You said making an impact, being the person who can make an impact. But can you be more detailed about what did you see yourself as you explored on this journey on who you really wanted to be? What specifically did you see in Melody as a trainer, like the new and improved version of that, making a killer life?
Well, it's changed so much, and that's okay. It can evolve, right? But there's been a theme. And, you know, so when in my graduate program, I was obsessed with exercise becoming preventative medicine. Like, that should be primary care. You know, when someone comes in and they're like, oh, well, your blood sugar's pretty high, your blood pressure's pretty high, you are at risk for chronic conditions now. And if you don't fix your lifestyle, start exercising, start eating well, start managing your stress, start sleeping okay, you know, you're going to fall victim to what the 80% of Americans over the age of 40 are dealing with right now, like multiple chronic conditions. And they're like, they get this information from their doctors who unfortunately don't have the space in their curriculum to learn much about nutrition and exercise as therapies, right? They have so much else to focus on. And so bringing exercise as preventative medicine, that is a huge, huge life goal for me. So I partnered with Exercise as Medicine, which is basically a corporation within the American College of Sports Medicine that does link physicians to exercise professionals to fulfill exercise prescriptions for people with chronic conditions.
Got it.
And through going through that, I just understood a little bit more about the politics around it and how that might not have been the best avenue for me to contribute. And so growing companies and growing businesses and growing as a coach and being able to set up exercise professionals as educated as they need to be in order to provide these prescriptions to people who need them, that's probably where my role is going to be better suited for.
Got it.
And so it starts with fitness consulting. And understanding how to build a business. This is a great way to understand how to build a business because everybody's always looking for fitness. It's a saturated industry. If you don't know how to build a fitness business, look on Instagram, look on YouTube, like ask anybody. It's out there. The formula's out there. It's not a secret. So it's just a great intro into how to build a business.
I love it. And
then from there, you understand how to make a team. And then from there, you understand how to make it scalable. And then you can transition into what you really want to do. That's
cool. That's a perfect transition into a big topic I wanted to ask you about. which is what you just said. It's a very saturated industry. There's personal trainers everywhere. It's kind of like one of those things where somebody says, "Oh, I want to be a personal trainer." It's like, "Huh, okay, you know, good luck with that."
Yeah.
Right? And that's how it's been. I almost, was interested in going that direction at one point, but I realized, hey, yeah, this is there's too much going on. There's every other YouTuber is a fitness person, it seems, right?
Yeah.
And Instagram, all that stuff. Okay, so and you also, by the way, moved from Connecticut to probably one of the most flooded locations in the world of fitness people, personal trainers here in Southern California,
who all have a bigger following than I do. All of them. Yeah.
Right, I mean, there's a lot of them out here, and then a lot of them are well known. What is your perspective on this? How do you stand out and become successful as a personal trainer here in 2023 with it being such a saturated industry?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. And I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record. I feel like people have heard this before, but people don't buy your workouts and your nutrition program because they could look that up on Google. They could ask ChatGPT, what is the most perfect program for me specifically? And it'll give them something beautiful, right? Yeah. So you don't buy fitness, you buy your coach.
Yes. Nice.
Just like you don't make friends with someone. Well, I mean, you probably do a little bit, but you don't make friends with someone just because they're right next to you. You make friends with someone you connect with. Yeah. And so it's the same with a coach. And you gotta be you. You really have to be just authentically you. I can't be copying these people that do whatever they do because that's not me. Yeah. And so I feel like everybody is so unique, and that is the gold mine right there, is living in your uniqueness and supporting people how only you can. Yeah. Because only I have, the reactions I have. If you're looking for a different type of coach, there's a different type of coach, which is beautiful. It's like people get to pick who they want to surround themselves with, and they get to pick what kind of coach they need. And so just honestly being yourself, that is your unique twist.
Love that. Okay. And I think the previous question you answered as you were discovering yourself on this journey, when you talked about the niche you were going after as well, I imagine that's a big part of how you're being yourself, how you're being unique in a place full of trainers. Would you agree? Oh yeah, and it took me 3 years to finally niche down. That was the hardest question that I struggled with. And then I was like, okay, well, I actually got a business coach. Her name is Kelsey Dawn. She's incredible, and her client acquisition strategy is something that I resonated with. So, and just her energy is very aligned with mine too. Just like there's so many business coaches out there I could have picked, I like her energy. Good. Okay. Right? Yeah. So, niching down, I was like, not who do I, what can I do? Who do I want to talk to on a daily basis? Because you are talking to your clients. Yeah. You are surrounded by your clients. Their issues, the way they speak about themselves, the work that they're going to put in, their beliefs. Like, you're talking to these people, they become your friends. So I'm like, okay, who do I want to be talking to on a regular basis? Yeah. And it's people that want to change because they have this vision that they can do it. Yep. And their body just doesn't match the vision that they have in their head. And so it's like maybe they're successful in business, or they're happy in life, and they're looking to grow themselves further. They're into personal development. They understand they're into personal growth, but they don't know how to do that for their body yet. Yeah. And they have this disassociation between who they are and then how their body looks and feels. Yeah. And they need to marry those two things, and that's where I come in. I love it. Okay. I want to ask more about who your target client is, and we'll do that in a second. I first want to stay on a higher level about your journey so far as an entrepreneur, personal trainer. Yeah. What is the biggest challenge that you would say you've experienced so far? This could be general, it could be a specific time or story. How would you answer that? Probably the biggest challenge was not even liking business at first. Yeah. Okay. The biggest challenge was having a template of how to do it
And then going through the motions and just feeling this pushback, like, I don't like to do this. And it wasn't until I understood what truly matters in order to create and sell a successful product that I started to do it my way. And that's when it started to get fun. And that's when I started to really enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And now I'm excited to go forward and, you know, kind of switch out of coaching and switch into just being like running a company, running a business.
Yeah.
Because now I do it my way, and now it is so much more aligned and authentic, and I don't feel that resistance when I go to complete the tasks I need to complete.
Yeah.
Which was happening before when it's just like it was someone else's way.
Wow. That's cool. Okay.
The misalignment is tough. Like if you're doing any action, if you're making any change, if you're trying to grow in any way, and you feel misaligned with the actions and the steps that you need to take in order to get there, maybe reevaluate how you're getting there. Because like all we have is the journey.
Yep.
So it's like you gotta enjoy the journey, or else you know you can enjoy accomplishing these goals, but maybe this goal, the feeling lasts a few minutes, an hour, but it took you 10 years to get there. It's like.
Right.
I'm trying to enjoy every single moment, every year.
Yeah. So let's dive into that. How do you organize your day now? Like with this new mindset of focusing on being a business owner rather than more just a coach.
Yeah.
Like how has that changed your daily schedule, your interaction with your clients, how you're scaling?
You know, it's some things you know that you got to put in place that you don't necessarily want to at first.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know for me, I got to get my workout done.
Yep.
I got to get it done first thing in the morning, or else I'm going to do it in the middle of the day when I want to do it, and I'm going to take 3 hours. And I'm going to waste, you know?
Oh, I know what you mean.
I'm going to play around.
Yep.
I'm going to say hi to you. I'm going to say, you know? So I just, you can't be wasting your time.
Oh,
you know, but I'm being, I'm, you know, doing something good for me, right?
Yeah.
So this is fine. I'm being productive. It's like, no. You don't need to be working out for 3 hours.
For sure.
So my thing is like, the alarm goes off at 5:15. I get out of bed and I either take a client at 6 o'clock or I go to the gym at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
and, you know,
sorry, that's too funny.
It's too real.
Because especially our gym too, there's so many distractions and there's so much to do there. And at least I said hi to you while you're on the Stairmaster.
Yes, you did. Exactly. You know, it turns into just a party. It really does. Yeah. So anyway. You gotta, like, the working out and any clients that I have in person, that's done by 9:30.
Okay.
And then my day starts, right? And so I'll take a few calls, I'll take some coaching calls with my clients, and then, you know, every day is set up so that my week makes sense.
Yep.
Right? So I get my client check-ins done early in the week, so they're set up for the week. And then on Tuesday is all like, okay, what do I have to do in order to grow, you know, for my client acquisition strategy, right? So like now it's hiring a virtual assistant or two. And it's creating all the systems so that I can train them scalably. And for the next person I bring on, I don't have to repeat the process. I can just like, here, this is how, you know, this is how I run my stuff. This is the job. And so right now I'm creating a lot of systems to be able to maximize my time and put in work now so that later it's just all set up. So
automated.
It's automated. Exactly. So building more of a group coaching model and a scalable model, having that personalized twist on it so that everybody is actually being able to see the results that they want in the amount of time that, you know, I suggest for them, depending on where they are, depending on where they start. So right now it's a lot of building systems.
Gotcha. Yeah. What's like a specific example of a system? Does that include like software you're using?
Exactly. Yeah. So setting up my CRM. And there's so much you can do. Right? There is so many options. So right now, figuring out what those look like for me and also what my metrics are. It's like, okay, if I reach out to this many people, how many people, you know, from all these different funnel layers almost, am I going to be able to close? Right? How many people am I going to be able to help based on X amount that I actually reach out to. So understanding your metrics when it comes to client acquisition, and then also understanding how to really groom the people that have already had a touch point with you, so that they understand that you are the solution to what they need. Like you are the coach that they need. And if you're not, then they won't buy from you, and that's fine. But if you are, you got to tell them that you are. You got to show them that you are. So what does that look like as well? Is it email marketing? Is it direct messaging? Is it Instagram marketing? So finding out what that is for me and my message, that's an example.
Interesting. Okay, so what does your target client look like in your view? Who's somebody out there who you believe would resonate very well, work very well with you as a client?
So one of my friends from high school actually just signed on with me, and he's just he's my perfect client because he just recently in the last year switched his lifestyle. He's into being just better, like living better, feeling better, being healthier. He's into personal development. He has a growth mindset. He is understanding that if I want to get what I want out of this life, I'm going to have to put in the work. And now he just doesn't know how. I see. So he's doing all this mental work, and he's happy in his career. He's happy in his social life. And I was like, but my body's lagging. And so that's where I come in, and I match who you want to be with the body that'll help you get there, and the body that fits the vision.
Interesting. Okay, that's a cool way to put it. Who you want to be with the body to help you get there. Mostly you hear the other way around, right? Like, what body are you looking for, and then how do we get there?
Yeah, it's a little bit backwards. So that's why I named my company Vyana.
Okay.
It means outward moving.
Outward moving.
Yeah. Okay. In Sanskrit, the yogi talk, it is the energy, one of the main energy systems of the body. And there's 5 energy systems, and this one powers all of them. And it is moving from the inside out. And it's like, if you want to make any change, it's gotta come from the gut. It has to come from the inside of your deep core spirit saying, I need this. And that's when you start to take the actions that everybody in the world will see.
Very cool. Okay. So tangibly, how do you do that then? What does a first interaction look like with Melody as my new personal trainer? And what is that client interaction like?
Yeah, so after that first conversation where either you or I reach out to each other and we understand that this is a really good fit, then I deep dive everything about you, right? So you tell me what your history is like with exercise, nutrition, with your mental health. You tell me, what the last year has been. What have you tried before? What have you failed with before? What are the beliefs that you think are holding you back? What are your habits that are holding you back? What people, environments, places, things, routines are holding you back? And we go through absolutely every single one of those things. And then week by week, we have a step-by-step plan to just knock the obstacles down and build up that inner confidence. Because a lot of people can do the things for a week, for a month, for 2 months. And then after that, once they stop having that accountability or the drive, or with motivation declines, they just go right back onto what feels safe.
It's like your classic January 1st people at the gym.
And, everybody can be a me or you who loves exercise. I'm completely convinced that everybody can fall in love with movement if you give it long enough. Right? Because this first few months even, it's gonna be abrasive. And so I try to eliminate the abrasiveness and just give you very seamless step-by-step approach. We don't tackle the biggest obstacle first. We tackle those small wins so that you can build up that inner confidence, and so that you could also build up, I call self-integrity, which is, if you say you're going to do something, you follow through with it. And that builds up your self-integrity. Because when you say you're going to do something and you don't, it chips away at your inner confidence you have in yourself. And so we fix a lot of those limiting beliefs first. And we start with things that are fun and simple. And I do, I host live meal preps on Mondays.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, my clients love it. And it's just like, it's fun. You make it fun. And then I have like some challenges for workouts. Like my community does, how long can you hold a plank? And then everybody like puts their numbers in.
Nice.
We do that once a month and we see how good you get. It's like, you make it fun, you make it challenging.
You're building a community.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And that's actually related to what I want to ask about a little more, which is your marketing strategy. you know, obviously Instagram's a big piece, so maybe we could start there, and I'm curious what else you're doing, but what is the image or brand that you're trying to give out to the world, to your following on social media? Because I see you doing some gymnastics movements, right, which is a huge part of your background. You obviously have like the classic, you know, trainer stuff where you're doing some lifts in the gym or you know, pick body pictures, stuff like that. What are you trying to do with all that?
Yeah, so right now my personal Instagram is very much so still my personal Instagram.
Okay.
Right? And I haven't really married my business with my personal, with myself very much. Okay. And so that is something that I've think about every day, right? Yeah. And with every piece of content that I put out, if I want to use Instagram and social media to the best of my ability to acquire clients, then I need to be putting out things that speak to my clients specifically. And I need to be, every single post, every single conversation needs to have a call to action, needs to position myself as that solution to whatever problem that you have for my ideal client. And so that is in the works for sure for my business account. And for my personal account, I feel just so much more aligned with just showing who I am. And the things that I think about and the things that I go through on a daily basis. And which is basically like, we are so lucky. For real. We're so lucky to be who we are, where we are with our people. Like, this life is so beautiful.
The community we have here.
Oh, goodness. Well, you know, just like having a healthy body. Having a mindset when you wake up, you're just like, oh, thank God I'm alive. You know, thank God I have my mom I can call. I have my friends I can call. Like, thank God I am the person that's waking up at 5:15 and heading to the gym. Like, thank God I have a business. Thank God I have clients that love me. Thank God my attitude is gratitude. And also, you know, work for what you want. And within that, like, hopefully you find fulfillment. If you don't, do it differently. Like, you gotta love this life. It's just proud of my personal brand is my perspective on life, which is gratitude, love, and being the best that you can be. If that's silly, if that's working hard, if that's fun, if it's like whatever that shows up for you, it's like, be you. Like, no one else can be. So it's pretty powerful that you can just be you.
Right.
It's beautiful.
It really is. And how that aligns with your mission in your business, in your livelihood, because your goal, as you said, as a personal trainer, is to be as much as you as possible, right? And then that will attract the target clients, the right clients who will work and vibe with you the most. So that adds up. I mean, that honestly sums up a great marketing campaign.
We're working on that
for sure. No, I'm sure there's a lot in the works. Like you said, you dedicate a couple of days a week or so to that, right? But I mean, I'm sure you're thinking about it 24/7 though. Anyway,
that's another thing. You're always thinking about your business and how you can do it better.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Well, that's awesome. I want to ask something fun that I ask everybody at the end, which is, what is an entrepreneurial life hack that is against the mainstream belief that you've come to follow, to believe, based off your unique experience as a entrepreneur, a business owner? Is there something that strikes a chord with you that you're able to share with the audience?
Yeah, for sure. It's going back to, you know, you might hate it. You might just hate it at first. And you can, there is the efficient way to do something, and then there's your way to do something. You know, the efficient way to do something, if that feels like a struggle, it's not going to be the most efficient, because you're not going to want to do it. You're going to procrastinate on taking the actions. You're not going to want to complete the things you need to complete in order to, you know, stay on that track. And that's what happened for the first 2 years. It's like, I wasn't doing it my way, and I was, you know, following these guidelines, and I just wouldn't do the work. And now that I have my own vision, my own goal, my own way of going about these things, my own client acquisition strategy that I align better with, my social media strategy that I align better with, how I take care of my own clients that I align better with. Like, now that I have my way figured out, which took 3 years, now I want to do it. And now I'm passionate about my business. And now I can't wait to grow it. And I look forward to working on it every day. And I look forward to offering more value. So it's like, if you hate it, that means you just gotta change the way you're going about it. And you will learn to love it as soon as it aligns with you.
Wow. Well said. Well said. That aligns with going at it with patience, but also continuous innovation while being true to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like trust, trust. If you're not using the powers of the universe, the powers that be, to manifest that shit, start. Because it works.
Yep. Love it. Well, Mel, thank you so much for sharing your story. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you one other thing as well. Is there anyone who you have in mind, who you think I should have on this show? I'm kind of leveraging this network effect by talking to people people like you who are building a brand and tapping into the networks to meet more amazing people to share with the audience.
I have a few.
Okay.
So I could list a few off the top of my head, and they're in very different spaces.
Sure.
So my mentor and one of my best friends right now, Jeremy Barr, is doing incredible things in the venture capital space, in the founder mentoring space. And he has been an instrumental part of my personal development and in my business growth as well. Just helping me break through limiting beliefs, and then, just teaching me how to be a better founder, how to be a better business owner, how to do the things that you need to do and have a bigger vision. So him for sure. My friend Zach DiLorenzo, he owns a marketing company, and he's a wizard with it. And he's got a really cool story that you wouldn't, he's been through some trials in his life, and he has come out on top, just like, wow, I really got to straighten myself out. And then he did. And he took off. He's local as well. And then a guy I met today, Ryan, who owns, I forgot what it was called, Rolleiflex.
Right.
Rolleiflex.
Yeah, you showed me that device.
He's more in the product space.
Okay, love it. Well, cool. Well, I'll follow up with you on getting in touch with these people.
For sure.
But this has been awesome, Mel. Thank you so much. How can people find you? What's your social media? How can people look into maybe working with you as a client or just to get connected? Yeah,
absolutely. Instagram, Melody Kramarz.
You spell it?
Melody, MELODY KRAMARZ. That's my Instagram. That's my website. That's my everything. We go through that, and you'll find all my links to all my other stuff.
Love it. Awesome, Mel. Well, thank you so much again for being on the show. This has been fun.
Yeah,
what a
so
cool
fun.
journey, and so much excitement ahead still.
Yes, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining our conversation today on the Nichols and Dimes Show. Please check out and follow my podcast Instagram at nicholsanddimezshow. I'd love to have you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube. You can also find it on my website. I welcome and encourage any feedback you can share in the reviews so I can continue to improve and develop the show. Thanks again, and see you next time.